Hello, I'm Ritz Blues, and this is my GDQ submission for Titanic 2005, not to be confused with Titanic, also a valid bad game of the NES department. Titanic 2005 is a platformer with just a hint of metroidvania to it. Got some jammin' tunes, no other sounds to be found, and there will be a bid war offered between playing the game as either Rose or Jack. Jack moves faster, but he slips on ice and does not have any kind of glitches that I'm aware of at this point. Rose is a little slower, but she has a glitch that is very useful for breaking the run. So that's what I'm going to be showing off here. And hopefully you enjoy it. I'm happy to run as either character, but I hope that the bid war shows off Rose because I find it a more interesting run. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with Titanic, in the film, Jack and Rose meet each other on the Titanic. They fall madly in love. Jack draws wonderful pictures of Rose. There's some scene that involves like a greasy handprint on the side of a car. There's an invisible barrel. I don't know why. Just as they fall in love with one another, the Titanic begins to sink. And so that's where our story picks up. Also, I hope you like fireworks because you're going to be seeing that screen a whole lot. So here in the engine room, we're going to go ahead and start showing off the reason that that Rose is more interesting, and that is that she can clip through walls. It's a very complicated input. Simply hold the direction against the wall that you wish to clip through, and mash the jump button until the wall gives into your will and lets you through. When I raced this in Cusa Grande a while back, most of the runners who tried Rose found this glitch. But unfortunately, there weren't very many places where it was practical. And so I took it upon myself to go through and see if I could find a few places where it's either practical or interesting. And that was one of them. I don't think it actually saves much time compared to going up the ladders, but it definitely demonstrates the glitch very nicely. There are a couple of other places where it's pretty useful. Oh no, wow, okay. Thankfully the game hands out checkpoints like they're candy in this level, so not a huge time loss if I die there. Alright. So I've already taken a bunch of hits, there's hearts all over the place. You're probably wondering, Ritz, like, there's hearts everywhere, why don't you pick them up? Well, the simple answer is, all hearts do is give you buoys. They don't actually, like, increase your health at all. Like those little life preservers, and that's it, that's all they do. Which is kind of annoying. Oh wait, I lied. There is sound effects, and it's only when you pick up hearts. Or, like, little keys, but everything else doesn't make a sound. Just completely silent. Stoic. There we go. So that's the boiler room. Now we're moving on to the hardest level in the game, which is the climb. This is probably, like, the biggest pain for most of the runners during the Kuso match, which is figuring out which of these paths you're supposed to take, and the fact that this ladder, you probably don't notice it until you run far enough over for the water to raise up, and then you don't even notice it anymore. So now we have the second half of the climb where we are going to try to make it up here without dying. Okay, cool. Come on. So, jumping off of ladders in this game is very interesting. You'll note I actually take a moment where I stop moving before I turn and jump. If I don't do that, the game remembers the last left or right movement that I buffered in, and makes you go that direction instead of whichever way I'm attempting to go. And that's the climb. So now we're in the Metroidvania part of the game. We're in kind of the main floors of the Titanic at this point, and you know, we've got long hallways filled with enemies and obstacles, little offshoot rooms to pick up power-ups and things like that, but and eventually you'll get to like some sort of obstacle that you can't make it past because you're missing whatever item it is you need. Some kind of an upgrade that affects the game that lets you, you know, move forward. Thankfully, Rose has a much easier time with this level than Jack. Jack has to avoid every single one of these carpets or falling lamps. Rose does not have to worry about this at all, because we just clipped away from the camera. It's no longer a problem. I believe... Yep. So if we go right about here... There we go. That gets us back on camera. Oh, there's a lock. Alright, so now we know what we have to do. We have to get over the lock and make our way through. So we'll go to this little area here. And that's it. We've made it through the hallway. We get to go to the next area. So here we are in a lower hallway. There's more obstacles. There's little ceiling tiles falling. However, if we scroll the camera down, most of the ceiling tiles will disappear. Well, most of them, not all of them. I did duck there, but it's kind of a delay as to whether or not the duck actually happens when you want it to. Again, it has to do with like the buffering in this game. If you buffer inputs, it can be a little bit unforgiving with the timing. Alright, so now we're gonna go down this staircase, and that gets us through the lower levels, because we have to go find the key for that lock. Alright, so I'm gonna take a death here, because I need to death warp to finish this sequence. Alright. Alright, so now we're in the first swimming sequence of the game, and Jack and Rose both swim pretty much like Frog Suit Mario does, which is, you know, you just hold the direction and swim. But, you know, her lung capacity is insanely good. So we want to avoid obstacles. Any of the doors that are lying flat on the ground like that, we have to swim over, but otherwise I'm just going to swim low to avoid most of the obstacles. Once we get the key, we can death warp back and save a little time making our way back here. If you swim to the right at the beginning of this level instead of to the left, your only reward is a dead end with an extra life locket. Alright, so that gets us back out of the water area. So now, like a Metroidvania in true style, we have to backtrack, because we've got our new power-up. And this power-up not only opens the door we need to open, it also makes all of the axes despawn. At least the ones that can hurt you. I mean, that's my argument. It does affect the game. But you know, there's one thing about Metroidvanias. I know, like, backtracking is a bit annoying, but the only thing worse than backtracking is front-tracking. So for whatever reason, the devs decided that not only do you not come back up the way you came in, but you start not only at the beginning of the hall, no, you start even further to the left at -1. That staircase is where we start. Now we're at the first staircase. So yeah, front tracking. So once again, the simple strategy is jump off the upstairs floor to the lower level off camera, avoid all the obstacles before they can spawn in, hold right, read donations, wait patiently, and then when you finally see the staircase out of the level, we can push the button to go up and leave the stage. Nope, too soon. No, I wasn't too soon. I was just off by a little bit. There we go. Alright, hey, we made it. So now we're on the surface of the ship. We're out on the deck, and we have to make our way to the lifeboats. But you know, Rose, we can just clip through walls to save some time and take the direct route. So here we are. We're at the lifeboats, but apparently none of these lifeboats are any good. So I guess we'll just fall off instead of climbing the rope. It's cool. It's cool. I didn't need that anyway. Alright. Awesome. We've got our lives refilled. We're gonna try this again. If I were to die the way I did there at the game over, the first checkpoint is actually back on one of those lifeboats. So we're going to try and hit that trigger if I can this time. There we go. Alright, here we go. Now we can go back up. So all that just to get to another section over here. I have to jump over these deceptively large pits. Also, there's Snowy. I don't know where Tintin is, but hi, Snowy. And oops, we fell. Dang. So now we can do the pits again. Hooray! Trying to nail the timing on these jumps is actually very tricky. You don't want to jump too soon, otherwise you won't make the full jump. Also, holding up and pressing jump, you don't jump. Fun fact, don't do that, because it won't work. And here we are, the little violinist who could. He's been playing this whole time, that lovely little ditty, while we panic and try and escape from the sinking vessel. And so that brings us to our last stage here. The Titanic has sunk. We barely survived. I don't know what kind of fish that is, but it's terrifying. Trying to climb on these ice sheets probably took me about 5 minutes in the Kuso match to figure out how to do. Turns out when you get close to one, you just stop moving and press jump. And don't push any other buttons, or else you won't be able to jump properly. Awesome, so we took a hit there that I didn't want to take, but whatever. I would jump on that platform to go a little faster than swimming, but unfortunately the spacing that these have is not conducive for good platforming, so it's just faster to swim it. But yeah, I mean, we're so close. We almost made it. We just got to get to some semblance of a life raft or something to save ourselves. And I mean, y'all remember Titanic, how it ended. And if you haven't seen it, you know, you might not want to watch this part. It'll spoil the ending. But you know, it's very, very sad, very tragic. Oh no, I got stuck. Okay, well I got it, but I died. Did I? Okay, do I still have it? All right, we're good. It's very sad, the very end with Jack and Rose together, floating in the ocean, not knowing what to do. But then Rose dives into the water, grabs an oar, and they sail off together. The end. Time. Great ending. So romantic. I loved it. And I hope you enjoyed it too. So this was Titanic 2005. I'm Ritz Blues. And hopefully I'll see you guys at the next GDQ. Thanks for watching.